You know what came to mind when you were sharing that, because you're navigating all these different emotions that can impact a culture, from a mental health perspective when managing project, is career grief.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then I might even want to even go as far as to label as project grief. Like if a project doesn't go as intended, or a project is tabled to another time, or there's all it can be impacted by budget. It can be impacted, the scope change. I mean, there's so many different factors that can impact a project not reaching all the way to the done stage. It gets canceled or postponed. And I think that is something that can impact culture, just from talking with other project managers out, in the community, in my industry. I think that is something that is not discussed.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? I know it's like random, but
No, no, no. I think that I mean, to be very frank, I think that that occurs way more often than people will, are often willing to be transparent about. Because the reality is that loss comes in all types of forms. And sometimes the loss is not necessarily the thing that you already had that you lose, but essentially the expectation of what you were going to have that you didn't get. And that is a different type of loss, especially if that type of loss occurs multiple times. I find that people often will begin to internalize external outcomes. So let's say project managers on, they're on a particular project and maybe that one gets tabled. Okay, fine. That was uncomfortable. They're like, all right, then I get moved to something else. And then something else happens with that project. And then happens again to a third project. Now, at this point, people start to like, not like, what are you talking about? Is it me? Like, why don't people want to pick me to be on? It becomes this, this inner battle of trying to identify what is the issue with their consistent loss and how and what way they are contributing to that loss. When in some situations, that has nothing to do with that. And helping them to unravel that thinking and really identify where is this self judgment, where is this fear ultimately stemming from, and really allowing them the opportunity to, one, name the loss and acknowledge that it's okay to have that loss in order for them to really begin to let that go. So I really love that level of awareness and astuteness in regards to that piece of loss, because I really think it's not something that many people will even recognize as a form of loss, but but in terms of response